One of the big things in off-road racing is you kind of need to smash each other sometimes. Sometimes accidental, sometimes you need to gently persuade someone to get the hell out of the way. Problem is this little coolie bit right here. So this is about the beefiest bumper you can get pre-made with a front mount radiator. I don't have money for a rear mount radiator right now, nor do I have space. So we're gonna have to get creative with this. Basically, this is the SDR Baja bumper. I already took the hood and everything off, but I mean, this is not enough. It looks like it sticks out far, but it only sticks out about 2 inches past the hood. That's a problem. I tried to hit someone once and push them off course. They were stranded in the middle of course. He broke a belt. I was trying to push him off. We ended up hitting tire to tire, and yeah, that's not good. So if I hit somebody at speed, I'm not gonna hit them with this. I'm gonna hit them with the tires, and that's gonna send us up in the air. So let's do some fab work on this thing. And my plan is, as you can see, it's really open in there, real thin. It's designed to be that way. It's designed to crumple in so you're not folding in your bulkhead. But that's not ideal for what we need it for. But what most people do is they'll have this bulkhead plate here, and they'll angle up at a more steep angle. If you don't have this little coolie bit, like I said, they'll go up at a sharp angle, and then they'll have like the bottom of the bumper like somewhere around right where this is, and then they'll have the top of the bumper here, and then they'll go straight in. Because that's ideally, you want the bumper in somewhere in this range, not down here. This is way, way, way too low, especially considering how tall the back of these cars are. Because if I were to hit an identical car to mine, this would just smash right underneath it, and you dive down under the car rather than hitting it and transferring force forward. So my plan is I want to add a plate right here, and I'm going to add a plate on top. So that'll strengthen all that stuff in, because you still need to, get in here to be able to get the suspension bolts. The four arm bolts are going through this bulkhead. So I'm going to brace that up, and then I'm going to cut this piece. This is just, it's thin angle. This is cheesy. So basically, I'm going to cut it right there. And then I'm still going to use this upper piece, but then I'm going to use 1.5 inch DOM tubing, and I'm going to have this come up somewhere around right here. So it will be taller. It'll stick out just a little further forward than the bottom one. And then I'm going to have 2 pieces of tubing that go from somewhere right here down to, I'm trying to figure out if I can do it to this plate or if it's going to have to be to the bulkhead. So either way, yeah, it's not going to be ideal, but it'll be stronger than what I have now. So my plan is I should be able to get away with not having to actually cut this bumper apart other than just the upper piece, but the actual structural part of it should be able to stay in place, and then I can just fill in these sections. I need to add a plate to the bottom here, because I'm not running a winch or anything like that. But yeah, so hopefully I can just run one big plate like this, like I said, and yeah, go from there. So the first step is I'm going to pull the radiator up. I got to loosen those top mounts, get these lights off of here, and then start to pull this thing off. I might start welding on it as is, but likely going to throw it on a bench. All right, so first step, cut the top bar off. And the other side. Yeah, you can see that was super easy to cut through. It's not even welded on both sides, just a light, hardly any penetration MIG weld holding this on. So super thin. The whole thing's cheese, but whatever. It's a better starting point. Let's clean this up. So, got those ground down. It's not weld prepped by any means. I probably have to cut off some of this to be able to weld the uprights, but that's going to be last. So, what I'm going to do next is add this top plate on here. I have a bunch of 12 by 12 plate, so this is 6 inches right here. So I'm going to cut it down. I'm going to try to get it to come up to, I don't know, here or so it'll be about 10 inches. Because there's this gap here. But unfortunately, that angle's up, so I'm gonna have to figure out how to bend a bunch of flat 1/8 inch plate. And then I'm also gonna fill in this stuff, I think. I know that this is a designed weak point, that way this bends and this does not. I don't want any of it to bend. So that's the plan here. Okay, so I just cut out this plate. That's gonna fit something like that. I'm gonna probably cut right about here off of it, so about, I don't know, 3/4 of an inch or so. And then I need to kink it. But first what I need to do is, basically I need to pull these 2 bolts. I'm gonna leave the bumper still attached, but that way I can put this all the way up against that right there. There's these welds right here, so I need to grind off from about the bolt over and then the bolt over, and then I can match this all the way up to there, mark exactly where it needs to be. I'm gonna lightly score it so I can bend it. I don't have a press brake here, so yeah, so that's what's next. So I'm gonna rip those out and then grind down those welds a little bit. On second thought, I'm not able to get in there with a grinder, so I'm gonna just pull the whole freaking bumper off. Needed to do this at some point anyway, so no biggie. Alright, so pulled it off. I'm gonna grind these beads down just a little bit. I already had to when I first bought the bumper. You can see right there and there. Just so the bolts would, or just so the shoulders of the arm bolts would clear. So yeah, it's kind of crazy that I had to clearance all that on a brand new bumper. But anyway, I'm gonna get those ground off and let's keep going. Okay, that's done. Now what we need to do is figure out exactly where I'm gonna cut that plate. While I'm at it too, I'm gonna grind these beads down. Okay, so bit of a design change. I got this plate made. Ended up just doing a light score, cut maybe 1 millimeter or 2 out of it. Not ideal, but whatever, I'll fill it in with weld. Anyway, it fits pretty perfectly just like this. It's kind of raised up on the side up here, so that it's a little bit too far bent, but if I clamp this down like that, and I can tack, then that leaves some overlap here that supports this, which is just basically basically just for lights, but just adds a tiny bit more support. So anyway, I think I'm pretty stoked with this. I'm gonna get it clamped down, get this surface prepped, and do some tacking. Okay, so got that plate fitted, surface prepped, had to clamp it down like that, but yeah, did some test passes on another piece, and welders tuned in, so let's go. All right, so this is what we got done tonight. Not pretty, but hey, it's 2 pieces of metal stuck together now. So next up will be, I'm not sure if I'm gonna add just like here down or if I want to go all the way up. But if I do here down, here to here basically, then I'll add some other kind of bracing in here. I need to figure it out. I don't run a winch, so I don't need that space. But yeah, and then I still need to figure out how, basically I'm gonna, there's gonna be the other bar up here, the other tube, like it was higher. I need to figure out how to brace downward, so that'll be the next challenge. But anyway, that's all for tonight. Stay tuned. Okay, next day. Like I mentioned, I am gonna brace up the bottom here. Basically, I'm gonna do a little plate here in this area because it's kind of recessed down, so I don't want to cover a big gap. I'll weld that up. But yeah, do a plate across here, and then I'm gonna do another plate that kind of connects. Okay, got that plate made. Ain't nothing pretty. Like I said, painting the top of it. Now I'm gonna get in here where that plate's gonna go, clean it up, and throw a couple beads in there. Probably right in there, right there, something like that. Give it a little more beef. Okay, so that's one side. Did here, and then on the other side, it was that big of a hole. So from that, same with down there, to that, weld ain't pretty, but I don't care. It's 2 pieces of metal stuck together. So let's fill those gaps now. Okay, so that's the front of this thing pretty well covered. And under here, not pretty, like I've said, but strong, or stronger. So what I'm gonna do next, like I said, clean this all up. I'm gonna paint in here, just rattle can it, and then I will weld that plate on, and then I'm gonna probably like drill a hole in it right here for drainage. So pretty easy. And then I'll add the other plate that's gonna go all the way down to here. So it'll be fully boxed because I think that's where the weakest point is gonna come from. On a hard impact this way, it's gonna wanna fold upward because this thing sits at an angle. Okay, so bottom of the bumper, got this welded up. Gave it a little coat of trusty dusty old Rust-Oleum. Painted also the underside of this plate, got this shaped, so that's gonna go like that. I know a lot of this paint's gonna burn off, but I wanted to coat everything I could. I'll try to get in there again and paint whatever I can. And then that's gonna go something like that. And then weld her on up. So here we go. All right, plate's all centered up. It's on there. There's an ever so slight bend kind of this way, so that's what, if on that time lapse, that's what that score was. Just so I could bend it properly in the right spot. But yeah, so she's centered. Prepped the surface the best I could. That was super ghetto making it, but it turned out good. So, all right, let's weld her away. Let's get her tacked in place first. Okay, so ain't perfect, ain't pretty, but it's stuck together. So That's almost it for this one. I'm gonna get in here, try to get those, kind of do some passes up in here to strengthen this joint, and same thing on the inside of down here to strengthen this right here. But otherwise that's it for the plating. And I just got to add that top bar. Okay, so I got it fitted. Obviously looks pretty much the same. Got that top plate up here and then that bottom plate down there. But now I need to add the top bar. Yeah, it did sit something like this and way too low. I want something more like up here and out just a hair. So I think I'm gonna rebuild this whole bar, which I have plenty of tubing, and then I'll do the uprights, so it'll be somewhat of an angle that kind of matches this angle, I think, and then probably something like up here, like the bottom of the headlight or so. So right at the corner here, and then go out to about here. It's not gonna be super protective, but it'll be better if I hit somebody with a really high rear bumper, which is, with this one before, we've just gone straight under it. So if it's up about 2-3 inches higher and then just about an inch or two wider on the sides, should be solid. So let's get to it. Okay, so I figured out trying to match this angle perfectly with the bottom one, which is what this is, or this is the top piece, but trying to match this V angle was a little tricky. So what I'm gonna do is just use the bottom one. I'm just gonna tack this one, and then I got the other piece here ground down like you saw. Then I'm gonna match it here, and then I'm just gonna do a little tack to this side, and then I'll tack, and then I'll cut it off of this piece, and then do the full weld. So ghetto, but it works. Okay, so my grind angle isn't perfect, but close enough. Yeah, I'll give it a couple tacks here, and on the other side, and then I'll cut it off here, and then weld her all the way around. There. Like you'd never even notice there was a weld there. It's really thin wall tubing. It's only 60 thousandths thick, and I had set up for thicker stuff, so it blew right through. So whoops. Anyway, let's get this fitted to the rest of the bumper. Okay, it's gonna look weird because it's a wide angle. Basically, this is what we're looking at here. I got this center upright, just test fitted. I'm gonna have one out kind of angled this way and one kind of angled this way with the center top bar, something like that. So it's coming together well. I think I'm gonna tack this on right here, get it nice and plumb. This way at least, it's gonna be angled out this way, so not too worried about that. But yeah, gonna tack this one and then make these two and then tack this on there. Okay, I can tell it looks really weird on the camera, but this is gonna look good. Let's see, I got it all leveled out for the most part. Ooh, over just a hair. Let's see. That's pretty close. Okay, so now I'm gonna give her a little tacky tack. So I got this side notched and fitted. It's lined up pretty well. I do like this, so I'm just gonna tack right there, so then if I need to adjust it a little bit, I can. So here we go. All right, we got a bumper. It looks huge from this angle. So I'm gonna add one more piece from right here that goes kind of down to this plate right there to support it from because obviously an impact this way is gonna smash this in because this isn't very strong, but that's my idea. I want this solid, hence the plates and all that, and I want this to bend a little bit. So anyway, not totally symmetrical, Notches aren't perfect, but hey, not bad for first time building a bumper in 10 years. So anyway, I'm gonna tack these tonight and then pull it back off and do all the final welding tomorrow. Coat it, well, add the other piece and then coat it, and yeah, she's almost done. Oh, and I gotta cap the ends also. Yeah, let's get her all tacked up. Okay, another day. Yeah, I realize this is way too tall, so I'm gonna cut it down right here. Cross there right at 7 inches. This is, I think it's a little over 10 inches right now. That's what she said. Anyway, wide angle looks weird, but yeah, gonna cut it right there, there, and there. Drop it down, then I'll notch those out. Just, I'm just gonna do it on here just with an angle grinder. So anyway, that's what we're gonna do next. And then we'll break these off and weld her back down. That's better. See, it's a little shorter. So the other thing I need to do is, well, obviously weld these and center it and all that stuff. I'm gonna weld some caps on the ends before that, and then I'm gonna weld it on. Then I need to fit this up. Basically, this is gonna go something like that to the back of this. So should be something like that. Should be a lot more solid. But yeah, pretty excited how it's turning out. Second time. That's why we tack. So anyway, gonna cap these and then we'll throw it back on and well, center it up and weld it up. Okay, so caps on here. Got this thing all prepped up. Now to get it centered up. Ticky tack tack. Pull the whole bumper off. Weld all 6 unions. So let's do it. Okay, so that's pretty much welded up. Ain't perfect, don't look too close. Now I'm gonna take that other piece and go down something like this. So, gonna cut that out, keep going. I got this fabbed up in case we get a hit this way. It's not perfect, I need to center it and all that stuff, but yeah, should add some strength. Yeah, get this welded up now. All right, so that's it for welding. It looks okay from far away, especially after I coat it. But yeah, pretty happy with this thing. Should work out good. I made sure to mark right here because the radiator sits right about there. So this should clear. I might have to clearance out the bottom of the hood, just a little tiny bit of plastic, but yeah. Let this thing cool overnight, and then I will seal it tomorrow, the coating. Yeah, otherwise she's all done. And there's one thing I forgot on this bumper. So the 4 bolts that hold it on, let's see, there's 1, 2, and then the other 2 are in here. Normally there's these holes. You just run the socket through with the bolt on it. Obviously put a plate over that, so I gotta cut those out. I'm just gonna use a hole saw and then a deburring tool. So just drill a couple holes and hog that out. Try to match that same shape. All right, so that's the bumper. Cleared these out so I can get to these bolts like I said I was gonna do. Then I had to drill those 3 holes to mount the little plastic thing that goes to the bottom. So Anyway, just got a rough surface prep on it. Not perfect, should be sandblasted, but I don't have that kind of time, so gonna steel it. It's, if you don't know, this stuff is basically powder coat in a can. This stuff is awesome. It's like paint, but way thicker, way tougher. You can weld over it. You can blend into it, like unlike you can with paint. Yeah, love this stuff. All right, there she is. I added new arm bolts. I'm replacing all the arm bolts. Just contacted S3 who makes that gusset kit. Got all brand new ones. I figured while I was in here I might as well replace all these bolts anyway. One of them was shot. A little bit of chafing on it. Anyway, there's the bumper. I still got to tighten the rear arm bolts and then obviously throw the hood on, but sticks out just as far as the old one did, at least the bottom. All right, that's it for the bumper. Pretty freaking happy with this thing. Doesn't stick out too far, not too high. Welds are uglier than hell, but I'm not a welder, so hey, whatever. But yeah, so it's still got that big open space underneath, which will act kind of as a crumple zone, but it's a lot stronger now, and that was the goal. So anyway, one last thing to do. The last thing it needed, bumper chicken. If we hit someone, we'll honk. Anyway, yeah, that's about it for this bumper. Pretty happy with it. Yeah, that'll do it for this one. But yeah, like, I don't know, 30-40 bucks in material to turn a super weak, cheesy, basic bumper into this thing. So, see how it works. But anyway, that's gonna do it for this one. Stay tuned for more. Lots of race stuff coming up.